Okay, here we are at Raphia, and we're playing by the rules. Finally. Well, we hope. I mean, these things are always, I'm sure I'm going to screw up some more. But that was a big one, the initiative one, as was the light infantry issues. That had a major effect on the game. What did we see starting off? Some of the lower quality leaders started things off this time. And unfortunately, I seem to be missing some Cretin Bowmen, which is why there's red ones here. Those aren't actually slingers, which is what they look like on the other side and have values for. They're going to have the same values as these because I don't know where to dig them up from. I may have some Bowmen somewhere else, but those are all I have that I found. So let's take a look at what we had. We had the slingers engaging here, and we see the Seleucid ones broke, and the Ptolemaic ones are actually holding up fairly well, but I mean they're not going to hold once those Thracians come crashing through. And then there's someone else kicking around here, and I can't find him. Can't be back there. With back here with these guys. These are some of those Libyan infantry stretching all the way up here. Now the leader for the Libyan infantry is back here. He tried to rally a unit and failed. He's not actually using his troops, which means the Arabs are probably going to send those guys running too. But he's looking at, we're going to have to pull back, even in the center. It's kind of a tough call. Like, this whole line is going to be in trouble. This leader is going to probably go running off and trying to rally his forces. At least if he gets a second initiative. It's going to cause some problems. He would like to get a hit in first and see if he can dislodge the Seleucid line, or at least break it enough that there's no clear pursuit available. A phalanx pursuing another phalanx would be very ugly. And he's got this advantage of sliding this guy forward. He's not going to be able to do a whole line command, though, because his line's broken. So that's kind of a disadvantage. Of course, the Seleucid line's broken, too, with the advances. I've got others. Yes, these Cretan archers here. Yeah, those are the other Cretan archers, and I just don't think I have enough counters to meet this. I don't know if there are counters missing or whatever, but this scenario is a tough one for eating those up. Anyway, these moved forward and fired at the medium infantry here, just trying to soften things up so those elephants have a chance. We have this huge advantage with this breakthrough. I want to finish it off by knocking that out and getting the outflank in place. But as long as those elephants are there fighting, it's not really... it's not like they're going to do anything or threaten anything. I can kind of ignore them, but I'd like to get them out of the way. It makes life easier. Alright, onward to the 3 initiative leaders, I guess. The Arabs got a little too gutsy and charged forward 1 unit against 1 unit, with lights against these heavies hitting their flanks and against this phalanx. They broke the phalanx over here, but as they were approaching the heavies, they failed their quality check and just ran, even though they had the flank attack, which would have destroyed, would have broken those heavies easily. Even, with the command, the Clash of Swords table doesn't come into, or the shock superiority chart doesn't come into play when you get a flank attack like that. But you still do have to make sure that you can make it up there and face them, and they couldn't do it. And they could have come with more waves, but their leader's not very good. He didn't get a momentum, so they didn't have as much effect as I had hoped. I was considering rushing a few up to try to finish these guys off so they can't be saved. Well, we'll see. Something I missed a little earlier, the Ptolemaic cav, I did it, I just didn't mention it on film, hit the Royal Squadron. It's kind of wrecking it, actually. They're definitely winning the cav battle over here. There's still a lot of Seleucid light cav that got kind of chased around a little bit by elephants. Speaking of chased by elephants, Ptolemy finally decided to hit. And it wasn't good. He's got a whole pile of elephants that rampaged facing that Indian versus African issue. And also, having made the attack, he was at a disadvantage. So many of his elephants have broken, but one of them went down and kind of scattered some of these calves, and a rampaging Indian elephant did the same. But for the most part, he failed there. He's trying to recover some of these and use them against the calf again. What's nice is these calves were in a line. He could hit them from the side and actually sent one routed. The rest of them, well, they were scared off by that other elephant. So we see some Persian medium infantry struck through and broken more of the line down here, and then all the way over on this other side we have the Seleucid light cav, which drove the remnants of this Execratus or whatever is rather potent cav, which smashed up the Royal Guard. There's still one unit left here, but the rest are in the dead pile. In the midst of there, we had a die roll of doom situation where the Libyan commander came by and rallied one of his units. Not a big deal, probably not the best choice there, but it's kind of hard with a battlefield this size to really be aware of where the best movement is, so I kind of saw that one early on and said, oh, I'll do that. Well, I'm not sure it was the best. He's a really low-ranked leader. Of course, all the leaders who've already gone would be, and it had to be a reissuing, so there wasn't going to be a lot of effect that early in the turn. Alright, well, keep going. Over on this Seleucid right flank, you see a bit of action where these Gallic and Thracian medium infantry chased away the Cretan archers. That's not really a hard thing to do. You just have to take some fire as they're coming in. But they pretty much will break against any formed units. But then the Greek mercenaries came and slammed into the Gauls and drove one back, did a little bit of damage. You see some of the Gauls are reforming back here. That was one of the decisions to be made. A little bit more has happened. I shifted over these cav over here with the intention to try to, maybe if I get a third momentum, to drop a couple of units in to try to drive these Thracians back. But on that attempt for a third momentum, the die roll of doom came up, ending the turn. Which means just going to take care of the bookkeeping. I'll come back with what's off the map and how many points it costs, and a brief overview of where we are. Well, looking quickly at the casualties, you know, there was some thoughts, hey, a lot of Seleucids routed off the map. Maybe the points will come up even. Well, they really didn't. Looking at the things, it's only some Arabs that went. So they had like 16 points added, whereas 29 for the Ptolemaics. Still seeing the Ptolemaics breaking, or falling apart faster, which makes sense. I mean, if you take a look at the battlefield, we got breaks in their line here, a little pocket here. The main phalanx, it doesn't look terribly strong. I'm not going to say which side is winning that fight right now. That's pretty even. But another break here, and that means we're going to get these flank and rear attacks because the breaks are on the sides, as the Seleucids wanted, of the phalanx itself. And then over here, well, I would say the Seleucids have the advantage, here overall, but then there's this big cav unit here. These elephants that Ptolemy is bringing around aren't terribly valuable, so right now to me it looks like everything in the battle except the extreme left flank of the Seleucid army is doing quite well for them. And if you look at what's routing, you know, yes, some points went off this turn. There is a decent amount of this Seleucid garbage on the extreme left that's fleeing. But there's some pretty impressive stuff in terms of phalanxes. That probably isn't too impressive. And some of the heavier infantry back here that's fleeing for the Ptolemaics. So I'd say overall, taking a look at the scope of the battle, definitely looks to me like the Seleucids have a victory here. It's just a matter of playing it out at this point. Could something happen? Is there a way of quickly reversing fate, as historically happened? I haven't found that to be the case in SPQR. but I suppose it's possible. Seen some that kind of I thought were going one way and ended up another, but I don't think I've ever seen anything this extreme break the other way. All right, up this one goes, I guess.